Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another round of the GT3 series here with Simsport Racing International. You are joined by myself, Adam Bent, and my co-commentator today is Dimitri Schmeck. Is he here with me? Good evening, Dimitri.
Good evening, Adam. I'm here as
How
well.
are we today?
I'm fine, thank you, and I'm looking forward to another exciting race.
Absolutely. Well, behind the cameras, we have the ever-present, ever-impressive, ever-fabulous Chris Hill. He's not going to be talking today, I don't think, but I'm sure we'll be badgered by him throughout the race. And how are we today, Chris? Are we going to get a thumbs up or anything?
I don't know if you can
Nope,
hear me,
dead
but
silence.
yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much. Looking forward to the start of this season, and don't talk to me again.
Well, round one is at probably one of my favourite circuits, probably a fan favourite within the motorsport community and probably within the world of motorsport as a whole. We are at the amazing circuit Spa-Francorchamps. Now, obviously, in Belgium, one of the oldest circuits in the world, first hosting a motor race back in 1925. Obviously, the layout massively changed since then when they were racing around a local village. As you can see now, obviously, the track, ever iconic, that's Sector 1, one of the fastest sectors in motorsport as you head towards some of the more trickier corners towards Le Combe, Bruxelles, Pouon, and the Campus and Stavelot sections of the track before another flat-out sprint towards the end of the lap, completed with the amazing bus-stop chicane at the end of the circuit. So, Dimitri, I'm sure you've raced here before. What's your opinion on this circuit?
Exactly what you say. It's one of my favorites as well. It's one of the iconic tracks in the world, and it's a lovely track with all the height differences, and it's also a track that when I go on holiday with my friends to Belgium, we are always staying close to Spa. So it has an extra dimension for me as well.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, this circuit plays host to a lot of GT racing with the GT World Challenge, Blancpain Series, obviously doing their 24-hour series here as well. You have a whole host of other series. They have 25-hour Beetle races around here. I believe the classics, and obviously you have the World Endurance Championship and obviously the pinnacle of motorsport, Formula One. But today we're here for Simsport Racing's GT3 category. I believe this is the Tier 2 category, but don't let that fool you because obviously, as we know, the competition in this series has always been fierce. So as we head over to qualifying now, we have just under 8 minutes left, and we are already following number 13 in 33rd position, Simon Pike, in the Dynamic Motorsport car. Now, Dimitri, have you raced in this series before? And obviously myself, I haven't. But have you raced in this series before? And could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, I have in the past. I'm currently driving GT4 series, which suits my driving style a little bit more than GT3s. But I have raced this series, and it's amazing, especially on a track like Spa with all the high-speed corners and the downforce level that you get with the GT3. And I must say, it's just wonderful to see that we have, like you said, we are in Tier 2 server with 47 signups. I'm not sure if everybody could make it today, but still, it's a fully packed competition. And we have another server with another 40 plus drivers. So it's amazing to see so many people enjoying the GT3 racing.
Absolutely is. Well, last time I was here with Simsport Racing International, it was the 24-hour race. And I believe we had a great time there. I think I got in trouble a couple of times for mentioning certain brands that I shouldn't have done. But today we're going to try and keep them out of the stream, broadcast, recording, however you're watching. Obviously, great for you to watch. Obviously, like, subscribe, comment. Obviously, we have other opportunities and other racing series that do go live. Always doing stuff here at Simsport Racing International, and hopefully we see more and more people join the grid, as we still have a massively stacked grid tonight with Silver and AM cars in the mix.
Yeah, and we call it Silver and AM, but if you're looking at the times they're already doing with Ulubi doing it to 18.5, that's a pretty fast time. And actually, I had a look what the current track record is on Spa, and it's a 2:17.9, so we are approaching the real life track record.
Absolutely, these guys are absolutely flat out. Now, obviously, a lot of people will have watched the Belgian Grand Prix, the former weekend, and they'll be like, well, hang on a minute, we're missing some key features. Well, this is a game. Unfortunately, we still don't have the updated version of Spa. I'm sure that if we do get that then everybody will be just as happy to see it as they were with the real world. But at the moment, yeah, as you say, we're following Lulu B as they now come down towards turn 1. They're currently sat in P1 with just 3.5 tenths separating them and Oliver Anderson in the notorious number 101 car. So Dimitri, obviously you've raced. You say you've raced in these series. Obviously you've raced at Spa. I think we all have at some point. Obviously yourself, you're doing GT4s. But if you were to be in this series for, I'm not sure which series we're on now, but obviously the new season starting, a lot of people in a variety of cars. But what car would you pick to challenge the season with?
Well, seeing Lulu B in the Honda on the top spot, I absolutely love the Honda. I love the sound it makes, and it's just such a wonderful car. But back in the day when I drove it, I think that was 2 or 3 seasons ago, I just, I was not fast with it. I just couldn't handle the Honda. It's a typical car. It's much pointier than every other GT3 car, and I kept turning into the apex way too soon. So I really needed to adjust. And but
that's a big crash for Tahos. That's a big crash for the 69. Sorry to cut you off there. That's a huge crash there for Anthony Tahos. Jumps back to the pits. He's currently sat in 3rd, but that's not going to help him in his qualifying. But,
it doesn't. I think there was exiting Puan, if I got it correctly. Yeah.
That did look like it. So very well spotted by yourself. We are now watching Patrick Prince in the Snack & Sons 275 car. I believe the Snack & Sons are... I am correct in thinking that Lulu also races for Snack & Sons. So yeah, we've got currently a Snack & Sons 1-4. Oliver Anderson, I believe, representing Garage 101, I believe. Correct. And then obviously Tahos in the CBSR car. I do love the CBSR liveries. I think they've always come out with some amazing liveries. And once again, this season does not disappoint with their choice of livery.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're sticking with the Mercedes. They're the CBSR team. They're a bunch of people. They really love the Mercedes, and it's something that you can choose as a driver if you're gonna specialize in a certain car. If you like a car and it fits your driving style, and try to perfect your driving style with that car. And other people like myself, I tend to switch cars just a lot because I think it's fun to have some different driving styles and try to adapt to it. And sometimes when you're not the fastest driver on the track, you can still have some great battles and explore the different characteristics of the different cars.
Absolutely. Well, we can see that currently the AM class as well is being led by a Honda. So currently it's Hondas in both pole positions for the classes. Here's Denise Pope, another regular, and again I've raced against Denise. Absolutely impressive talent. Very quick driver when she's on her form. So currently sat 15th in the 79 Wild Things McLaren there. Mark Noitling's just behind her in the 666 Aston. We've got Hop, Bath and Pike. I believe that is all our silver drivers in the top 20. I'm not sure if we've got any more down towards the bottom. I'm sure that Chris can confirm that for me. He's gone silent. No, there's a couple more. There is a couple more. And in fact, the BMWs very far down the grid. Pierce, Christie, and Hodge, and Allen. Sorry, Mr. Allen. But all 4 BMWs quite low down on the grid. I was not expecting that.
There has been a recent balance of performance update for ACC, so maybe that has something to do with it.
It may well do. Well, as you can see, we've only got a minute and a half left to qualifying, and we've already seen a lot of the cars and a lot of the talent that will be challenging for overall victories and also class victories. We have 2 classes in this series. As you see, the number 98 challenging for some track position there with 49 of Steve Allen in the MGA racing car. You can see that obviously all these guys and girls are fighting really hard for that crucial track position during qualifying. Because if there's one thing you don't want to be having is being stuck behind a back marker or a slower car during your fast lap.
I just spotted that VT Renauden, who was in, I think, one of the bottom positions as a silver driver, just finished a great lap. He's now on P2.
So we're now a driver jumping straight up to P2. Really good there. So Reinanen there now jumping up to P2, displacing Oliver Anderson from the front row. So we currently have Lulu B and Reinanen at the front with Oliver Anderson, Anthony Terhorst, Patrick Prince, Tom Curtin, Schroeder, Ike Tails, Evan Natas, and Reynolds in the top 10, should I say. And then in P11 is our current pole sitter, Bill Sama, in another Honda for the Red Lantern Racing team. Currently 0.4 up on this lap as well, we're being told by the crew, so obviously we can see that he's going to be potentially putting himself even further forward. That would actually put him into P4 if he was to complete this lap with 4/10 up on his time. So coming up to the line now, the AM driver is going to go 4th. As predicted, he goes 4th onto the grid. Terhorst won't improve from his times, so Terhorst will start no higher than 5th place on the grid. We have a few other drivers still yet to complete their laps. A lot of people still out on circuit. Ike is still trying to get any time he can out of that car. He's coming towards the line now. Through the bus stop, very clean. Towards the line now, it is P4. So displaces Bill Sama to P5, but Ike goes up to 4th place. We are now watching Nikolai Schroeder in his Green Moose Sprint car. I'm just saying Green Moose Racing, but it's Green Moose Sprint for this series in the 98. Very interestingly coloured Audi.
Yeah, it's definitely catches your eye. And I have a look. He was up a couple of tenths. And he's 4 tenths up, so he still has some positions to gain possibly if he can keep it up.
Absolutely, we've got another yellow flag in sector 3 and another one sector 1. They've now stopped, but now heading up towards the bus stop chicane. A heavy braking zone down to 2nd gear, pushing all the way through here. Let's see if they can improve on their time. Can they push any further up? They do, up to P5, so Balsama now down to 6th place. Terhorst, after qualifying 4th, has been dropped down to currently 7th place. Reynolds now comes across the line, can't improve much further, stays 10th. Tom Curtin still on a lap, I believe, coming towards the end of his lap. We've got 2 cars left, and it is Mark Neutlings in the... Oh, positive perception! Oh, wow! Haven't seen them guys in a while. So Mark Neutlings representing Mark Raddenbury's positive perception team towards the line now. Can he improve? Tom Curtin doesn't improve, stays 9th. So Mark Neutlings in the silver class Aston Martin, the 666 car. Can he improve at all upon his times? Comes toward the line now. The answer is no, doesn't improve, stays 18th. Very close racing, very, very close racing indeed from our drivers. So 2 Hondas on the pole, the respective poles. We have some new drivers towards the front, some very familiar faces in the pack, and 1 hour sprint race with 1 mandatory stop. Are we looking forward to it, gentlemen?
Certainly, I am. It's wonderful to see that we have a whole bunch of different cars in the top 10. We have Hondas, McLarens, Lexus, another Honda, Mercedes, AMR as well. So it's great to see that we have a variety of cars.
Absolutely. Well, variety of cars in GT racing is probably one of the key things that draws a lot of people to this kind of racing. I mean, considering Assetto Corsa Competizione was, kind of, a lot of people question where the other categories of cars were. The fact it's still so popular today with a whole host of series, a whole host of communities, the base it built was such a strong foundation that even though it is only GT3, GT4s, and obviously more recently touring car-esque cars, there's not much option in terms of cars, but in terms of content and in terms of opportunities for competitive racing, it's probably one of the best simulators out there.
Yeah, it is, and you have the different cars that handle quite different as well. And whenever you specialize in a game like this, it's GT3, GT4, and some Cup. You can get all the detail right, and that's something I think that Assetto Corsa Competizione does so really well, and that keeps the people engaged in the gameplay. Yeah,
absolutely, you are completely correct there. Well, obviously, we've not got long till our race. As I said, it is a 1 hour sprint race with one mandatory stop. It's probably one of the, I believe this is one of the shortest races in the calendar, as we have a whole host more in coming up in this series, including 3 trips to a very interesting place called America. I believe COTA, Watkins, and Indy are all on the calendar this year, which will make it a lot more interesting, as a lot of people will not tested on these tracks before. Are you looking forward to it, Dimitri?
Well, I haven't driven them, to be honest, so I'm not quite sure what to expect. But that's always looking forward to new tracks. Getting to learn them. It's always a great experience, and then seeing your massive time improvements every lap. That's always something positive.
Absolutely. Well, another thing I forgot to mention as well is if you are interested in getting involved in any form, in a bit more of a form, if you are a continuing member of the SSRi, or if you're looking to join us, there are admin opportunities available. There's a few admin positions that have become available recently due to people's real life commitments. I believe there is, let's find that comment quickly. We have some team vacancies. So we've got league admin for Sunday or Thursday leagues. Graphic designer, obviously basic experience, Microsoft Paint, better, anything would help. And also social media managers. So anybody that is interested in getting themselves involved in a higher capacity here within the community, obviously message one of the admins. I believe it was, who was it? I just want to confirm that. Bass. Yeah, so it's Bass Van Mellis. You want to be messaging and letting them know that you are interested in helping out this community. Once again, obviously, myself, I've been here for 1.5 years now, and probably one of the best communities I've been a part of.
Yeah, I always find it amazing, Adam. I've been here for quite a bit as well, and it's always amazing to see how the community steps up and how we are possible to have 2 servers completely packed with drivers, but able to record it, to stream it, to have commentators, to have people dedicated to getting the pictures right, so the we commentators can have a chat about it. It's just amazing. But then you get all the organization with it as well. And I have to say, I've been part of the admin team for a bit. Unfortunately, due to real life getting a bit busy this year, I stepped down a little bit. But always fun to join the commentators, and it's incredibly fun to have the team of admins and have the team of league organizers, and it's something that you can give to the community, but it's also just massive fun.
Absolutely. Well, we now have 10 seconds to go before everybody fires up their engines and we go for the parade lap. Obviously, the parade lap, well, it's called a parade lap. I'd call it more of the formation lap. They'll go round, obviously warm up their tyres, their brakes, anything they can, develop final preps for the race, and then they will go green on a rolling start. So Lulu immediately pulls off. Decent gap immediately, like just pulling quite far ahead of P2 Reinen for now. Obviously running a quick run down the list is Lulu B on the pole, Reinen in second. In third and fourth we have Oliver Anderson and Ike Tails, with Nikolai Schroeder and our pole sitter for AM, Bill Sama, in sixth. Anthony Tehorst and Patrick Prince are on row, I believe that is row 5 or 4 of the grid, that'd be row 4, followed by Tom Curtin and Reinl in P10. P11 to 20 is started by Evan Atas in his 164 Aston Martin, followed by the 65 McLaren of Van der Linde, Evan, who went a little bit wide there on his weaving, followed by Stewart, Everleens, Vervat, Van Horn, Denise Pope, and Mark Neutlings, Mark Hodge, and Simon Pike in 20th place. Is Mark Hodge, I was making sure. Lee is our 21st driver, followed by 2 more silver drivers of Hop and Bath, followed by Westenberg. I'm going to absolutely mispronounce the hell out of that next name. Any ideas, Dimitri?
I practice it. It's an Arpioglu or something.
Okay, thank you.
We'll do our best.
We'll do our best. Obviously, Westenberg, Seinal, Christie, Rogoz, Parker, and Venema in P30. Stuart Pearce, our 31st driver in the 78 BMW, followed by
I
Hestrecker.
think it's Sam Pearce.
Oh, Sam Pearce, sorry,
yeah.
Sam Pearce. I'll be like, oh no, yeah, so it'd be Sam. A fair few female drivers, sorry Sam, please don't hurt me. Hestrecker, Van der Voort, Van der Linde, Bokland? I'm saying that correctly, aren't I?
I think you are, yeah.
Peter Bokland, Haig, Allen, and Vrins are 38 drivers. 38 drivers around this circuit is quite a feat, considering most endurance series only see about 36 around here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hectic first lap, and it's it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, turn 1 La Source, a hairpin. Luckily, there's no gravel traps for our drivers on the simulator, but I'm sure if there was, everyone would be a lot more cautious down towards turn 1. At the moment, obviously, with the game, we have a tarmac runoff, which means that people can run a little bit wider and get away with it. Obviously, you shouldn't anyway. Obviously, you don't want to be using your track limit penalties. 3 before you get a penalty. And obviously, a penalty in an hour-long sprint race could mean the difference between a podium or a points-paying position and having to go home empty-handed. Lulu B, obviously, currently on the pole, wanting to continue this good form she's had as well. She did really well despite the issues at Misano in her endurance campaign so far with her team, and a few of her teammates as well around the circuit.
I think a few of the unknowns in here, Adam, are the number 2 spot, Viti Rineen, and I think he's new to the series, and on P5, Niklas Schreuder as well. At least they're unknown for me, and I'm hearing from Chris that they are part of the endurance series, so they have plenty of experience.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of these guys are obviously coming from the endurance series will give them a lot of opportunities to race against a variety of people from the top tier and this tier. Obviously, the tiers are only there to help us get grids as equal and balanced as possible to give us the best entertainment and the best racing as we come round towards, I believe this isn't the start line, they're actually going to start just after La Source, if I'm not mistaken. I'm correct, so our first corner will actually be Radion and Eau Rouge. So obviously coming up the hill from Eau Rouge up to Radion is going to be an absolute flat-out fest down the Kemmel Straight towards Lacombe, which will be our first major braking zone. So we're now coming up to La Source for the first time here. All these drivers finally into their formation. Tyres should be warm, brakes should be warm. 7-kilometer circuit, 1 hour racing. We're about to go green. We're waiting for them to get up to the line now. You can see them trying to just race each other a little bit, try and get any little advantage they can over each other before we go green. 2 Hondas in the top 6. Let's see where they end up in 1 hour's time as we go green now. And it's a good start there by Lulu, but a better start by Ryan. It looked like he just got a little bit further ahead. Oliver Anderson couldn't capitalise on any mistakes from the front 2 so far. So it really looks fairly clean so far. No major issues, no yellow flags appearing as of yet. Everybody seems to have got through okay. Everybody has got through okay up turn 1. So everyone now heading down towards Lacombe for the first time, and it looks all clean so far.
Yeah, it's a really clean start, and Lulu going wide.
Lulu gets wide a little bit, loses control and drops down to 5th place, I believe that is 4th place. Now going to be under pressure from the other Honda there, and the other Honda meanwhile is also trying to stay alongside the CBSR Mercedes. There's a lot of fighting there already within the top 6 for positions. You can see that Lulu now losing the place to Ryan, and Oliver Anderson inherits 2nd, with Ike Tales now 3rd, being chased by Lulu, who will obviously be gutted about that start.
And a great start by Wouter Belsma as well. As an amateur, he got passed by Anthony Terhorst, but he's still in P6.
Absolutely great job. In fact, no, he started P6, so he actually did make an overtake initially. And obviously Anthony being the slightly quicker driver, he goes into a mistake there. And Anthony off into the wall, and Lulu off also into the wall there. She's gone off into the wall. Is anybody else going to collect in this incident? Don't back out onto the circuit. No! Oh, yellow flags being waved. I'm hoping everybody will see him. And there's another spin I'm not sure who that is, but somebody's gone backwards again. 213, that was the 213 car. Who was that? That was Vrince. That was Wouter Vrince in the Bentley, backwards after the incidents between Terhorst and Lulu. So Wouter now having his day turn into a worse day there, being put right to the back of the grid now.
I think the only luck that he has is that was the starting position, but he has to gain some time now.
Absolutely. Well, there's another spin in the bus stop. The 73 car, Vervat, has had a spin as well. I think everybody has avoided him, and he's going again. So there we go. That is Aston Martin there. Vervat being overtaken by Seynal in the Bentley. So currently trying to fight for, I believe that is P5. Makes his way back through down the source.
I think we saw the Mercedes of Anthony Terhorst going to the inside on Pulhan and just having a little tap with Lulu, and they both spun out, unfortunately. And they dropped them back quite a bit. Anthony is now on P30.
Absolutely. Well, these guys, obviously, the two of the front runners in qualifying, now down to 30th and 33rd. Obviously, fortunately for them, it was only lap 1. They might be able to make some more positions back up as time progresses. Anthony already making quick work of Sam in P30, so now down to P29. He's going to make another move here on, I believe that's the Ferrari of Van der Linden. Going to go around the outside, and he's been contacted again, and he's pushed off again. Oh no, day's gone bad to worse for Anthony Terhorst. Van der Linden getting alongside and tapping him, and now Terhorst is going to drop even further down to 35th place now. There's 3 cars in the pits already, and Terhorst will possibly join them after the amount of damage that's going to be on the front of that car.
And this might be the correct time, Adam, to bring up the friendly chat that was going among the drivers right in front of this before this race. And they were putting up bets like who's going to win the first race and who's going to win the championship. And I believe it was Oliver Anderson who put Anthony Terhorst on P1. He thought Anthony would definitely win this race. Well, he's up for quite a challenge right now.
Absolutely, quite a challenge now indeed. But Simon Pike making his way up to 13th place after starting 20th, obviously inheriting all these positions through in car number 13. So there you go, double 13. Most people would consider that unlucky. There's a bit of damage already on the front of that Ferrari, so I'm sure he's been in the wars at some point. But still continuing a decent charge here up from 20th place. But Rainen immediately taking advantage of all the opportunities he's been given to try and check out from the Lexus behind the 101 car. There's another car backwards. It's the 64 car this time. Seynal, I believe that is. No, that's the 94. But we've also got the 606 car backwards as well. So we've got a few cars off in hot pursuit, and that's Lulu. So it's gone even worse for Lulu. Unfortunately, we won't have replays this time round, but I'm sure that we'll be able to have a look at that after the race and see what happened to Lulu there. But it's just going from bad to worse for poor Lulu there. She's now going to go into the pits and possibly repair the car, try and continue. But it's going to be a big challenge there to try and get to the end in very tough circumstances.
That's a bit of a disaster for Lulu. Having such a great qualification and then having contacts, and might be some damage that made the car very tricky to handle, and that possibly resulted in a second incident.
Absolutely. Well, we're watching Joris Evelins as he's being attacked there by 2 cars. That is the Audi of Reynal and Van der Linden's McLaren. So that's Frans van der Linden. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for the information. So that's Frans van der Linden attacking in his McLaren 720S against Joris Evelins in Tiresi 17 car. So as we head now down towards Campus and Stavolo, the fast, and yep, that is correct. I was questioning myself. As we head through the Campus section towards Stavolo now, just a little bit more pressure being put onto that Ferrari. 3 cars now joining the battle for 9th place currently. So these guys are fighting for top 10 positions. 2 cars behind them, obviously wanting to inherit any positions you can, because points this early on in the season are very important. In fact, sometimes they're more important than wins, because people can obviously drop off later on in the season. So still currently watching those battles. Oh, a little bit of contact there from, that was Reynal on to Frans van der Linden there. A little bit of contact is going to put Reynal out of the contention there for that position. Van der Linden is now going to be dropped back into the arms of, that is, I believe that is Schroeder. It's Nikolai Schroeder trying to make his way around the outside there. Not going to be able to make the move there, but obviously trying as hard as he can now to overtake the McLaren after the McLaren has a little bit of contact on the side of the very long body, the 720S.
That does mean as well that Nicholas Schroeder had a bit of a poor first few laps. I believe he qualified P6, so he dropped a little bit, but he's now trying to make the move on Frans van der Linden on the Camel Straight onto the outside, and it's going to be a braking contest right now.
It's going to be a braking contest, and Schroeder thinks he's going to win it, and he does win it. Only just, though. It looked like he came across the nose of the McLaren just that little bit too early. That could have also almost ended in disaster for both drivers there.
I always thought he missed his braking points, but he was able to hang on and just make the corner.
He absolutely was. Well, Ike Tails now inheriting third place and actually challenging Oliver for P2. So obviously, at the moment, Oliver is closing the gap to Reinen, but not fast enough so that he can try and defend from Ike at the moment. Ike pressuring ever so slightly now, right up behind the Lexus of Oliver Anderson for Garage 101 RIP, I believe, or Garage RIP 101. There's too many names for it. Also, the Pizza Crew, as they're known within the Endurance series. But you can see there's immediately a back marker already. That looks like a back marker just in front of Reinen. I can't tell who it is, but it definitely is a fourth car in front of these three leaders at the moment, with Bill Sama, our AM driver, P4.
Yeah, and I'm having a look at the lap times, and they really have to be aware of Wouter Bijlsma.
It is, it's Lulu. So Lulu currently actually about to be lapped by our leader. So that's just a day going from bad to worse, in my opinion. Lulu, obviously, a very quick driver. I'm sure she'll try and pull away from Reinen, but it's going to be very difficult for her to achieve with, obviously, that shock to her system of the issues that she had within the first couple laps.
And the top four are doing quite similar lap times. They're all within a couple of tenths from each other, so it's Oliver trying to catch up to Vitorina, but they also have to keep an eye on Wouter Bijlsma because he's doing the fastest lap time, a bit faster than Oliver last lap.
Absolutely. Well, Ike, after his very, I'd say, creative interpretation of track limits there, going to go down the inside of the first section of the com, going to be forced out wide at the second section. Then he's going to try and make a move up towards Brissell, and he's been pushed off. Oh no! So Ike, now the latest victim of side-to-side contact, drops him down to 9th place. That's a huge drop for Ike from, well, what was a really good position at one point and almost challenging for P2 towards the race lead.
It was interesting. It was a very difficult situation. They were side by side for a couple of corners, and it was Oliver on the inside, and then the next corner it's Ike on the inside, and then Oliver again, and it switches around like that. And they kept it clean until the very last moment. So that's unfortunate.
It absolutely is. But this promotes our AM leader into P3 overall. So that is Daniel Hostra in the Balf Motorsport cars, the Balf being the British GT manufacturer. I believe that's just a standard delivery from the game. Currently in P19, trying to chase down Venema and Rojos in P17. He's also now under attack from Seynal. Seynal's looking round the outside. That's not going to work very well at campus corners towards Stavolo now. Daniel is going to have a better run through that and immediately pull away there and close the gap on Lexus in front.
Samuel had much more speed going into pole 1, but he couldn't make a move for a stick.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, we're on to Hostwatch, as he's now going to go up to 22nd place if he can make it round. It's 3 wide as we go towards Blanchimont now. Someone's going to have to back out or it's going to end in disaster. It looks like Host is now going to get squeezed. There's now 4 people within a few car lengths of each other as we now head down towards the bus stop chicane. Everybody seems to file out quite nicely. And towards the bus stop chicane, they no longer are 3 wide. But my God, that could have ended in disaster, couldn't it?
That was looking spicy, but they all did the right thing and found the spot in the single line.
Absolutely. Well, there are certain spots in this track, despite it being quite a wide track, that you do have to tend to go single file because obviously the racing line sort of dictates it.
It looks like Anthony was a little bit wide at La Source, but that's one of the places where you can go a little bit wide and get a great exit speed and don't lose too much time.
Absolutely. Well, he used that to great effect there because he's now into 22nd place. Now the next person he's going to chase down is Iron van der Linden. Thank you, Chris. And the first penalty of the race goes to Mr. Vervat in the 73 Aston Martin. He has now got a drive-through penalty for, I believe that'll be track limits, won't it?
Yeah, probably. And that's such a shame because it's such a long pit lane on Spa-Francorchamps, so that's gonna lose you a lot of time.
Absolutely, I believe it is the longest. I believe it's one of the longest pit lanes in the world because you've got obviously the F1 pit lane, as people call it, and then you've got the old F1 pit lane that obviously for endurance racing is combined together. I think you've got something like 60 pit boxes. And obviously that long stretch between the two that is conjoined as well. So it's really unfortunate for Mr. Vervat. That's going to put him a lot further back down the grid now than he'd have liked to be. So we've got Rhineland still chasing Lulu. So Lulu's obviously driving fast enough to be considered a race leader. In fact, Oliver Anderson's just been caught napping by Bill Sama. Bill Sama's now actually right on the back. Wait, yeah, Oliver is a race director, isn't he? Oh. Oh, I see. But yeah, so obviously Oliver now being caught a little bit napping by the back markers. So all of a sudden, that's going to put Bill Sama right on his tail. He lost a huge chunk of time to Reinen as well. So Oliver's now going to have a huge bit of pressure on his shoulders to try and shake off Bill Sama as best he can here.
I think they all, Renan also had to deal with some back markers, which didn't help him, and then Oliver had the same getting out of the bus stop, so maybe that caught him out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is, for Bill Sama, he's got a huge gap between him and his second place in He's got 10-car gap. As a leader in a class, would you still go for these positions? Would you still try and fight for an overall podium? Or would you try and hold back and obviously know that you've still got quite a safe gap between you and your class competitors?
Yeah, I would probably still go for it, but you take a little bit, you are a little bit more cautious. But I don't think you should really drive more cautiously than you would normally do, because that's when you get lazy and that's when you make mistakes.
Absolutely. Well, the other question is, if I was to ask you the same question at the end of the season when you are fighting for all those important points, would you say the same?
I probably would say the same, but I don't think my body would react in the same way. You get all tensed up and you suddenly do things, which you said you wouldn't do.
Absolutely. Is that Denise? I believe so, yeah. Can you confirm that for us? That's Denise Pope currently sat behind Tom Curtin, trying to make her way through past. She's raced. No, there's Denise. So who is that? It's another Wild Things car.
Could it be Evan Atafas? Maybe.
It might be Evan. Yeah, it would be. So we've got Chris, obviously our ever present, ever wonderful Chris Hill, trying to confuse me between the two Wild Things cars. That is Evan actually fighting. That is four positions. These four are all racing 4 position. Evan's going to go around the outside at La Source. He's going to try and hold him off. going to come across to cover his fellow Aston Martins. We've got an Aston Martin 1, 2, 3 in a row there, followed by a Ferrari of Evelyn's, who's currently got the purple lap. Obviously, the fastest lap is normally displayed as a purple number box. So Evan now up to 5th place, dragging along Tom and Mr. Stewart and Evelyn's behind. So these guys are fighting for, at the moment it's 5th place, but if they're not careful it could be further back or further forward depending on how this race pans out.
I'm pretty certain that they will have a huge smile on their face right now, because this is what you race for, you know, very close battling between the 4 of them. And we see a move, I think that was from Joris Evlens, making up position, I think, on Stewart.
Absolutely. Who's that backwards? Somebody backwards there, 70-something, 75.
I think it's Patrick Prince.
You reckon Patrick Prince, 275? It was Patrick Prince backwards. So Snack and Sons, both their drivers having problems, and it's dropped both of them quite far back down the grid. So Patrick was P4, so obviously I was saying about how incidents can affect a race. We're currently 20 minutes into our race, so we're almost a third of the way through, and so far most of our top 10 has dropped off.
And there's another yellow, I think it's for Joris Evlens, the number 17 Ferrari. He just made a move on Stewart.
It is, that is at Campus, so just after Pouon. He's had an accident there. It doesn't look like the Ferrari's too damaged. I think it's just a bit of a spin. But, oh no, that looks like a large amount of damage, I think. I do think that will be race over for our fastest lap as well.
Yeah.
Yep, there we go. Jumps back to the pits.
The thing is, when you get out of Pouon, you have such an amount of speed. If you dip 2 wheels and off the track and you go into the left wall immediately, it's just game over. It's so much damage.
Yeah, absolutely right. And again, Evan Atas getting a better run out of the bus stop. It's now side by side for the Astons. So Evan is going to try and hold off Tom Curtin just behind him. Ike Tails back up hit after his spin, now up to 6th place, so pushing as hard as he can to catch these drivers just in front of him. So the Audi now pushing hard to try and close the gap between him and what was 3rd place at one point, almost challenging for 2nd.
Having a look at the top 3 right now, and they're doing very similar times, so the gap remains between 1.5 seconds.
It absolutely does. So these guys really close together, fighting as hard as they can for these crucial points in the early season. 214 also having an incident now, so we've got a few more people now having small issues as they go on through their races. 214 gets going again, so that is Peter Bockland in the Furbock Racing car. The 214 having a small accident at the bus stop. We've got the leader still chasing Lulu, so Lulu's still not actually been lapped by Reinen. So she's trying everything she can to keep Reinen behind. Obviously, she'll be picking up positions as they go towards the lapped cars. Because a lot of people will be thinking, oh, it's Lulu, she started on pole, so we'll just have to let her through.
Which isn't the case, of course, but you know, with all the chaos going on in the first few laps, they might have missed it that she actually spun and is now in last position. But it's also Lulu just showing to everybody, you know, I'm here and I'm fast, and you will have to keep an eye on me for the rest of the season.
Absolutely, she's doing an impressive job there, pushing forward even with the issues that she's faced already. Tom, meanwhile, still challenging Evan. Just behind them seems to be a gaggle of cars that's going to start to form as this pack, as these guys battle more and more. It's going to push them back into this pack. And looking behind, you've got about 10 cars in this pack. So potentially within these next couple laps, there you go. There's 4, 5, 6, 7 in one shot immediately. Again, Evan a bit slow through there. That was somebody running a bit wide. I don't know who that was, but somebody ran a bit wide there. So that's going to make a battle. Ike is now right on the back of Tom. Evan was a bit slow at the bus stop, sort of backed up Tom into Ike. He's trying to fight as hard as he can. Reynolds now into the pits as well, so we've got a few of our drivers that haven't had issues yet coming in to start doing their stops. Obviously, you could run close to the full hour on the tank. and obviously work it out from there. But equally, a lot of people might do it early and just try and get it out of the way and then just run towards the end with a heavy to light car. Obviously, strategies, and the best thing about these kind of races is that the strategies are free. You know, you can do as you please with the strategy in hopes that you pick the right one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if you're in a fierce battle right now and you have the feeling that you're losing time, it might be smart to pit right now.
Absolutely. You are correct in that. Obviously, Renault into the pits now, obviously trying to hold a position that's going to be a little more favourable for himself. Meanwhile, we've got Xander Westenberg, I believe it is, fighting Mark Neutlings in the positive perception car just in front of him. Xander doing a good job there. Currently P2 in the AM class. Obviously, the next closest driver to Bill Sama, who's currently sat in 3rd place. Meanwhile, Mr. Westenberg is in 13th.
Yeah, Walter Belsma is having a really, really great race at the moment, and a huge gap to Sander Westenberg. So, coming back to the question that you asked earlier, you know, how aggressive are you going to be as Wouter? Well, you know, knowing that you have quite a big gap to Sander, it might be another reason to, you know, just stay aggressive and stay focused.
Absolutely. I would stay focused, but I think I would only make a move if I knew there was the opportunity. I definitely wouldn't force the move immediately and try and, you know, battle as fiercely as they were doing on the lap 1 and 2. Because, like I say, in terms of your own championship, you're not fighting for that silver class unless you get promoted. Obviously, I'm sure that I don't know if there is actually mid-season promotions for drivers if they are exceptional. There's not. I've just been confirmed. So obviously he's got his own championship to worry about as well. So to throw it all away to try and fight for an overall win, yes, in your heart you want to do it, but logically speaking, you're fighting your own championship.
Yeah, that's correct. And so that might be the smart way to do it. And I was having a look at Rogos. He had a Anthony Ross behind him, who is on an absolute monster of a pace. He's trying to catch up.
He's a man on a mission here, down to 16th. After starting, I believe it was in the top 6. He started in 6th place, and he's now down. Well, he after going drop down to 35th, I believe, at one point. He's now at 16th place. Obviously, he's inheriting positions through pit stops, so more than likely times will change as we go on. But at the moment, up to 15th place.
Yeah, and he's gonna gain another place as well, indeed, with the pit stop from Stewart. But you know, here Anthony has to do his pit stop as well, but he definitely has the pace to try and gain some more positions.
He absolutely does, and we know how quick he can be on a good day. So hopefully he can get himself further forward. So Anthony Tehorst, currently 15th place, chasing down Venema in, that is our 3rd place AM driver, so currently sat in 14th place. So we'll see where he ends up throughout the race, because obviously at the moment there's a huge gaggle of AM cars just behind Tehorst. So once he starts fighting the AM car, that could bring all those guys into play for a podium.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think Venema, you know, he has quite a sometimes catch up to Xander Westenberg, but behind him, Rogos and Hoekstra and Prince, they're not too far off. So also Venema has to make sure that he's not losing too much time fighting Tehorst.
Absolutely, you've got to be very, very clinical in your approach at some stages, haven't you?
Yeah, if you know, once again, it's a different class, and if you just notice that the car behind you is faster, you can try and pick a spot and see if you can manage the gap, so you don't lose too much time when you get past.
Absolutely. Well, that is a very slow, almost contact there between Tom and Ike. Ike doing his best job to get off the curb, and Tom doing his best job to avoid essentially a side impact from an Audi. That is another car that's about to be lapped. There's a McLaren, I believe it said the 19 on the side of the door. I couldn't confirm that. I know there is an 18 car, but I think that was the 19. In fact, there you go. Yeah, it confirms it because the 18's in the pits. So we're watching Ike still. And the fact that, as I say we're watching, he has passed Tom Curtin. So he goes down the inside at Lacombe. A textbook move there by the driver of the number 912 Audi. So we're close to halfway through the race now. We currently got Ryan sat out the front with 2 seconds the gap between him and Oliver Anderson. Bill Sama currently in third when the task tells Curtin Schroeder, Franz van der Linden, Patrick Prince and Simon Pike are top 10. Mark Neutling's making a very good job of getting up the grid to 11th place so far. Vestenberg P2 and M class and 12th overall, followed by Barth Venema, our P3 driver in the AM class, sat in 14th, followed by Horst Hostrecker, Vrint Parker, Rugosh, Van and
I think it's Arjan van der Linden. Yeah.
Arjan van der Linden, that's that. Thank you very much. Vervat, obviously Rogosh now dropping positions due to his pit stop. Obviously everybody at the back now. So Stuart Pope, Reynolds, Van Horn, Lulu B, Christie, Arapaloglu, Sainal and Wouter van der Voort all stopped.
Yeah, I see Denise Pope on P27. We missed it with all the stuff going on in the first few laps. I mean, there's someone exiting the pits. I thought someone just won, but it's exiting the pits. But Denise Pope, she didn't have the greatest of first few laps apparently, but the great thing about her is she's very consistent usually. So there's still lots to be gained in the second half of the race.
There absolutely is. There's still plenty of time for drivers to make positions. Obviously, we're only halfway through the race. And definitely great opportunities here for a lot of drivers to pick up their, obviously, first and crucially, their most important points of the season. Because normally the first race can determine your late game as to how well you do.
Yeah, and it's also a mental thing. You know, if you have a great first race, then you stay very much looking forward to the next race. And after the first race, it's a bit, it doesn't go your way, and you get a bit unlucky. It's always tough. You have a whole season ahead of you, but it feels like you already lost a lot of opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, we can see here Simon Pike, after starting 20th up to 10th place, being chased by that looks like a back marker in between him and Mark Neutlings. Vestenberg, I believe, still somewhere in the fray there. So a lot of back markers starting to come into play now as well. You can see a lot more presence from other people as we get later into the race. We'll see more and more back markers.
Getting out of the way nicely there. And is that then Mark Neutlings catching up to Simon Pike very quickly?
It is indeed. So Neutlings straight onto the back of Pike immediately there. So Neutlings doing a great job at catching up. There's a Bentley behind. I'm not sure who that is, but it is definitely a back marker because he's not on the timing screens correctly. So we'll see what happens here. They're going to go too wide down towards Blanchimont now. Vestenberger gives Mark a little bit of a push to go through. It's a little bit of a bump draft there from Vestenberger to let. What's wrong with Simon? Simon's dropping off. That was a huge drop off. What happened there? He just lost so many positions. I'm wondering if he's going
into the pits right now.
He is. I think he just didn't want to try and dive in between people at the pit lane. But very, very interesting decision.
I'm still wondering if something is wrong because he seemed to slow down a bit before going into Blanchimont as well, because Mark Neutlings was catching up so fast at that point.
Yeah, I think he might. There you go. He's coming to the pit lane, stopped. So Simon, after a really good session, just sort of not throwing it away, but not an ideal situation to be in when you've got to sort of make your way down the pits So if you've not set your button, obviously, again, with Spa, you could sort of probably just set your pit speed limiter and do it all the way down the pit lane, because you've got such a long time before you hit your pit box.
Oh, that's if you can multitask like that, and sometimes that's difficult. It looked like Simon ran out of fuel, so he had to pit, but he wasn't quite ready for it yet.
Absolutely. Well, it's unfortunate, but there is still plenty of opportunities for each driver to make amends for themselves as the race progresses. Now we're watching still with Marcus Hodge, and I believe that is Sam Pearce just behind. But no, sorry, he's chasing Haig. That would be correct. And so obviously Haig in 17th, I believe, with Mark Hodge 18th. In fact, there you go. So Haig loses position to Hodge there, the silver driver, drops Haig down to 18th and Hodge up to 17th position. Haig, I believe, is sat in 6th or 7th, sorry, in the AM category so far.
Trying to keep my eye on Simon Pike, see if he already exited the pits, or if there is still some trouble for him.
It doesn't seem like there's much more trouble now. I think he should be pretty clear to leave the pits. Lulu doing her best job to try and make the most of her opportunities. It's very difficult for someone. Oh, Herstrecker gets a 30-second stop-go penalty. So stop-go penalty 30 for Herstrecker. So speeding in the pit lane is the violation that will give you a lovely long time to sit in the pits and think about what you've done. So Lulu now goes through on Simon. Simon's dropped quite a way back down. I think he may have retired the car. I think he may have retired the car indeed. It's really unfortunate for the Ferrari driver, who was doing really well. Sam Pearce currently 19th place, one of the people that hasn't stopped. In fact, I believe you've got to look up to 22nd for people that have stopped. So Mr. Stewart, the only driver that's ahead of everybody that has stopped, I believe. I don't think anybody else in the top 20, at least up to 21st, has stopped.
It's going to be interesting because Stewart, he was right up there in the top 10, and he has done his pit stop much earlier than the rest of them. It's going to be interesting where he will end up once the whole pit stop routine has been done by everybody.
Absolutely. There's a lot of opportunities for various drivers here to benefit from a early pit stop. Obviously the undercut being what looks to be the preferable for at least half the grid, which is great to say, half the grid have stopped, but we still have another 20 cars to stop.
Yeah, and I believe it's a mandatory fuel only, so usually in hour-long races you will see a lot of people who will go for fuel only, but on a track like this with Spa, with all the fast corners, and you also saw it this weekend with the Formula 1, there can be a lot of grading, so it's going to be interesting if people are switching tires, yes or no.
Absolutely. It should be interesting. Oh, that's race leader. So that is our race leader, Vettirennen, into the pit lanes in his 221 McLaren. So McLaren now into the pit lane. So we'll see, obviously, Oliver Anderson temporarily inherit the lead. Bill Salmer's still actually right on the back. So Oliver has no breathing room here. One mistake and he's immediately going to be under attack from the AM leader. Obviously, as Oliver knows, he's very good under pressure, but we'll see how it goes with Bill Salmer being very close behind.
And we see Arctius into the pit as well, together with Renan, and so we see a couple of the top drivers now engaging the pit stops, and let's see how Oliver Anderson and Belsma are going to respond. Are they going to immediately react and go into the pit as well, or are they going to stick to their own strategy?
I have to ask, what would you do in this situation? Because I think I would react and put a hell of an in-lap in now, knowing that obviously the leaders come in. Obviously the gap was only 2 seconds, so if Oliver was to be able to put in a purple lap time on his in-lap, then there's a high possibility that he could have a great chance coming out of the pits. So Oliver now needs to put in basically the lap of his life to try and take the win from the 221 McLaren that's already back out on circuit. Yeah, I was going to say that livery is a very out there livery, obviously with Danish flag on the top. I am correct in thinking that. Yep, so obviously Oliver with his Danish flag on the top. Obviously, deep down I'm rooting for him. You know, we have some great conversations with him during the endurance series, during the Spa 24, and just in general, lovely guy to talk to. So hopefully we can see him react here and try and drag in Bill Sama with him. Obviously that would allow a few of these other drivers to temporarily inherit the lead. So to Horst, Hodge are all coming in for their pits now. Hodge is still in the pit lane. Denise is in fact the only person in fact no, Oliver's staying out.
They're both staying out, yeah.
That's a brave call, because I'm just watching Evan the Task just came into the pits. Tom Curtin, I believe, probably followed. So we'll see in a second who's come in. So, no, it's just Evan. So, Evan's come into the pits. And that's it. Van der Linden, Schroeder, Curtin, Prince, Neutlings, Vestenberg, Barth, Venema, Vrins, and Parker all not stopping. Sam Pierce still yet to stop as well, up to 15th place because of that. So
could be that Oliver thinks that he has some more pace than Renan, and he's thinking, well, I'm staying out. You know, I was faster than him. I can up my pace right now, but it doesn't look like it, because the last lap it was actually about the Belsma being a bit faster than Oliver.
Absolutely. Well, Frans van der Linden, meanwhile, fighting for what looks to be, that was 6th place. Yeah, 6th place between him and no, 5th place, because him and Patrick are fighting for 5th place currently, with their pit stops yet to come. So that's, I mean, talk about creative track interpretation. Oh no! Oh dear, that's I'm going to reserve judgment from that one, but I think there'll probably be a few words said after that one. That was taking track limits to a new level, I think.
Yeah, it was a bit tricky, because Frans van der Linden, he was trying to make his move into the Lacombe, and he couldn't make the move stick, so he went off track and gave position back. But he immediately after that tried to go on the inside, going into Brussels, and
Patrick just decided he was gonna.
He was not gonna allow that.
Yeah, it was a bit of a. I think we could debate this all day long.
Yeah.
I think hopefully it is seen down as a racing incident, but unfortunately it depends on how the drivers react now as to obviously what the stewards will probably do regarding the penalty. So there you go. Van der Linden's been let back through by the looks of it. I don't think Patrick was going to fight it too hard. I think he knew that his move was a little bit naughty. So hopefully he'll now just obviously carry on racing now as if nothing happened. But Oliver's gone round for another tour of the circuit. Van der Linden is into the pits. Prince isn't. So we're now seeing a few this is a very varied strategy from a lot of these drivers. This is going to put Patrick up to 4th place for now. Obviously Schroeder, Bill Sama, and Anderson yet to stop. Anderson still under pressure from Bill Sama. Bill Sama time round. Only 3.5 tenths separating the NSX and the Lexus is RCF, sorry, not the LFA. Imagine an LFA GT3 car, that would be amazing. Anyway, so Bill Sama currently attacking Oliver Anderson here for what would be effectively the race lead.
I'm waiting for Renan to finish a first lap, so I can have a comparison between lap times. Oliver Anderson and Belsma.
Renan's lost a lot of time.
And Renan,
I believe he came out. I could have sworn he came out in 8th place, but obviously, evidently not. Hodge with a 30-second penalty as well, so the second person to be hit with a very long stop-go penalty.
Yeah, I think Renan must have made a mistake, because he lost position to Evan Tafas as well, and he has just done a 2:33 lap, I believe.
That's got to be a mistake. So that actually does hand the effective race lead over to Oliver Anderson. Oliver Anderson is currently leading the race. He may not have stopped yet. I don't think he realizes that he might be race leader properly after the stops, but he knows that Bilsama will also want that position. If Bilsama or Oliver know that they are going to be in the lead of the race once they come out of their stops, this could make this battle a lot more interesting.
It could, yeah, and his last lap from Renan was about 7-8 seconds slower than usual, so he might find himself, after all the pit stops are done, he might find himself around P4.
He may actually lose out on his podium place. So Oliver still doesn't come in, so Oliver's going to keep going. Bilsama's going to come into the pit, so wherever Bilsama comes out will determine whether Oliver actually inherits the lead fully and proper, or he's going to obviously come back out behind his opponent Reinen, because he didn't actually lose any time to Reinen during the pit stops. Really, he didn't actually lose a large amount of time. So Evan Natas now into 8th place. Sam Pearce 9th, obviously yet to stop. Bilsama Prince now into the pit stops. So we've currently got Schroeder. It would be So Schroeder and Anderson are the only two in the front runners that are yet to stop. We've got Vrint and Pearce, the only other 2 drivers. So only 4 drivers left to stop at the moment, which means that Oliver will probably come in very soon. I'm hoping so anyway, because it would be interesting to see if he throws this race away by stopping too late.
Yeah, looking at his lap times, he's doing 2:22s low, while they were doing 2:21s earlier in the race. So I go 3 wide right now.
Reinen going 3 wide there with, what was that? That was a Porsche of Bath, and oh wow, oh boy, yeah, that's a
Quite
looks
some
like
damage.
a little bit. I don't think duct tape's going to fix that one, I'm afraid. So Bilsama's out in 3rd, so Bilsama's coming out of the pit lane. He's going to inherit 2nd place overall. That actually is huge in terms of his standings, and going to give him a high possibility of taking an overall race victory if he can get a really good outlap.
Yeah, and Oliver has no margin of error at all, because Bilsma, he was right on top of him.
Bilsma will overtake him if Oliver doesn't get this right. Bilsma will take a victory as an AM driver. I don't know if we've ever had an overall victory for an AM driver in the 2nd tier, but it would be impressive to see nonetheless.
This is turning out to be a great race, but 50 minutes to go, and there's so much at stake right now.
Come on, Oliver, come in. Oliver, come into the pits! Just want to be on his radio right now. Box this lap. Box this lap. You don't realise that you are actually the race leader proper. Come on, Oliver. Realise, please.
He's keeping a steady pace though, so it's a 22.2 last lap, and it was a 22.3 right now, so it's quite steady. But
he's very, and Oliver is a very consistent driver, and he knows he's got the potential to come away from here with great points haul for his championship standings. And again, in a very interestingly coloured Lexus, he's going to have a great opportunity here. Ike Tails past Patrick Prince now, so Ike going to make his way back up to 7th place. So there's only 2 other cars to stop that will probably lose positions to these drivers behind, but Oliver should come out as effective race leader, because unless Natas is doing 220s consistent, I don't think he was close enough to take the race lead.
no, I don't think it was. I think it's between Oliver and Wouter Bilsma.
Absolutely. Well, I believe. We've got a spinner. It's 224.
It's the Renan again.
It was Renan again. Oh no, not again. So we've got, obviously, there we go. Oh yeah, it is. It was 2-1. It's gone even further down. Renan, after, what I would have considered a very dominant display in the early stages, just having the worst time of his life. In fact, Oliver's not far behind. He's only half a sector behind. Renan could actually be lapped by Oliver. This race has given us absolutely everything so far. everything but the kitchen sink so far. If Oliver comes home with a win, I think there'll be a few celebrations, a few pizza parties to be had for various drivers. At the moment, he seems to be very comfortable in his position. I'm trying not to jinx him, but it's very hard not to talk about the elephant in the room.
Well, we see Wouter Frins, he entered the pit. He was on track, the race leader for the M category, but of course Wouter Belsma was in a better position.
Tom Curtin actually jumped Belsma as well in the pit stop, so Tom actually might be a threat to Oliver. Oliver's in this lap, he's heard me. He's come in this lap, so this is now the most important pit stop of the race. Will this mean that Oliver Anderson takes the first win of the first race of the season? Can he pull off what I definitely thought was close to impossible with how quick that Ryananen was. Ryananen's in the pits.
This as well.
So that is game over for Ryananen. Ryananen won't be back out enough to even think about challenging. Schroeder, the only driver now not to stop, obviously thinking that he has the opportunity there to try and go further ahead.
But
we'll
Tom
see.
Curtin, he has thrown us a curveball because he's suddenly in there. He's in front of Wouter Belsma, and he's doing 21.8, so that's about 5/10 of a second.
He was
faster
right there as well before.
And Oliver was doing right before his pit stop, so
where is Tom at the moment on track? There he is. He's literally just in front of Belsma, so Belsma's not far behind. Coming up to the bus stop now. I'm waiting for Oliver's name to go green. We still haven't got a green name for Oliver. What's going on with Oliver's stop? Oh, he's right at the end of the pit lane, so he may not have had his stop just yet. So hopefully it's a splash and dash and a really good job by his pit crew to get him out again.
But
We've got a crash at the top of the hill at 69. Car is around. That's Anthony Terhorst. It's Oliver going to lose this position to Tom Curtin. No, Oliver's back out, so it's going to be close.
It's going to be very close.
Yeah. Oliver's only just coming out onto the circuit now. That's going to be very close. In fact, where is number 8 car? He's only just come out. I think there's only going to be about 4 or 5 seconds between the two.
It is, and of course Tom Curtin has some extra pace because Oliver just came out of the pit stop. But he's not going to challenge him going into the cone, but he's not far off.
In fact, there he is. He's right behind. He's only under 2 seconds away. So Tom Curtin could actually upset Oliver here and take the race win away from him. Please don't. No, obviously we're seeing what is effectively the best way to strategize. Just waiting and seeing what your opponents do. There's going to be the what ifs. You know, what if he came in a lap earlier? Would he have been able to come out a bit further ahead? It's all the what ifs at this point.
Yeah, the difficult thing is Tom Curtin has done his pit stop quite well, so he's in a groove. He's doing a lap times after lap times, and Oliver has just come out of pit, so he has to get into his groove really fast as well because he's not allowed any.
Well, he's not allowed any breathing room. Yeah, he's immediately been. Curtin's could potentially make a challenge towards the end of the circuit, towards Blanchimont, towards bus stop chicane. There could be a change for the effective race lead. Schroeder still hasn't stopped. I don't know if he thinks he's going to get away with that, because obviously we all know that he won't. So we'll see what happens there. I think him and Sam Pearce are the only two not to stop so far. Sam does need to make a stop soon, because at the moment she's going to put herself a lot further back. So we didn't notice as well, Lulu B's up to 20th.
Yeah, that's a great comeback. We saw the pace yet, in front of the race leader and just staying there and actually gaining some time as well.
Absolutely. Well, Tom is now within half a second of the race leader, Oliver Anderson. They're now coming up to turn 1 towards La Source. They're going to be very close together here. It's going to be a big push now from Oliver to try and pull a little bit of a gap from the Aston Martin just behind him.
And Oliver must be thinking, where does this Aston Martin come from? Wasn't it a Honda behind me all the time?
He's going to be wondering where that Honda is. That Honda at the moment is still sat P4, but obviously that's not where the race lead is. The race lead is here. The race lead is about to be challenged by Tom Curtin as they head towards Le Combe for 21st time Still nothing there. Just inching ever closer. 10th by 10th. It's being brought down. There you go. Oliver is now right under attack. You can see a little squiggle there from the Lexus. The Lexus just not up to temp right now. Trying to defend from what looks to be a very, very stable, a very quick Aston Martin.
Oh, and there's a bit of drama in the AM category because Wouter Frins has a drive-through. And he was...
Frins does have a drive-through. That means
on,
Sam Pearce is going to have
a
good opportunity to now take a podium position.
Wouter Frins, he was looking for P3 in the M category because Sam Pearce was doing a pit stop, so it would have been close for the 3rd position.
It absolutely would. Well, Tom is now pressuring Oliver as much as he physically can. Obviously, Schroeder knows that if these guys fight for too long, he could actually take the race win in the end. So he'll be hoping now that Oliver and Tom fight just that little bit too hard, and it puts them in a position where they can't actually challenge him for the win. That's a good question as well, how many track cuts, because I'm pretty sure they'll have at least one for each driver. We're still watching Tom Curtin right behind Oliver Anderson here. Sam Pearce now down to, that is 5th place. Still really respectable for Sam. It's a good way to start the season, decent points haul. Once again, a very defensive line from the Lexus there, trying to hold off the attack of a very quick Aston Martin behind. Still waiting on a gap between Schroeder and Anderson to form. So Schroeder seems to be thinking that he's going to do his pit stop in the last lap. And Tom Curtin's now going to look down the inside. Little bit of an over-rotation there. Can't get through. Ike Tails now takes the fastest lap of the race as well. We're seeing Tom is pushing as hard as he can now to get past Oliver in the 101 car.
And I think Schroeder is in this as well for the win. Of course, we know that a pit stop takes quite a while in Spa, but he's half a lap in front of these guys.
He absolutely is. Obviously, I don't think he's got enough. I don't think it would be enough on paper, but we don't know. We can only speculate. I'm assuming the pit stops are minimum 30 seconds anyway. No, they're not. So if he's put his fuel calculations in right, he may even only have to like a couple litres to get back out again. So we'll see how this unfolds as time progresses. Anderson still under attack from Tom as they go down towards the corner with no name again, towards Pouon for the 23rd time, I believe it is. A lot of tours of this circuit in an hour, and with a 7-kilometre circuit like this, every corner is a challenge, especially on those tyres. Now those tyres are going to be starting to scream in agony, as most of them don't really last too long, do they?
Schroeder is staying out once again, one more lap, but he did a 21.4 last lap. That's about a second faster than Anderson and Curtin doing.
Yeah, but the problem is with Schroeder, he's gonna be running out of time. He needs to box in this next 2 laps. If he doesn't box in these next 2 laps, he will miss his opportunity, and he will effectively throw a race win away.
Yeah, he definitely has to box, and I think he realizes that. He's just trying to he's thinking, I'm doing great times right at the moment, so let's continue and have a splash and dash at a very last opportunity.
Yeah, he seems to be trying to maximise his opportunity. We're going to stick to this battle, absolutely. It's a great battle so far. Tom trying to find his way past a very, very defensive Dane of Oliver Anderson. Just behind them is a back marker. I believe that is a Porsche in the back, so we don't need to worry about him. Too big a gap now for Bilsma to try and close the gap onto Tom. Tom giving Oliver a little bit of a push through, letting him know that he's going to be there the whole way to the flag now. There's a high possibility actually that Schroeder will come out for a win. There is a very high possibility that these two are going to put each other too far back, and Schroeder, that honestly the most unlikely of any candidates to win, could come out with a race win here.
They're losing like a second and a half each lap, so yeah, Schroeder is looking good, and that would be a Danish 1-2 if Schroeder wins it.
Well, nothing is out of the question yet. Schroeder, obviously, this time round, I would personally pit. I've got a big enough gap here to come in. So we'll see what he does. And Green Moose would be getting there, obviously the first one of the season here. And he does indeed. He comes in. So we can now see the race leader into the pit lane. So we now have effectively a time trial here for Tom and Oliver to try and get a bit closer. Potentially we could have a three-way fight for the win if these guys don't get to the pit exit before Schroeder does. I'm not sure where Schroeder's box is, but it seems to be still traveling down the pit lane. So he's not stopped just yet. It looks like he may be on the second stage. And obviously on the second stage, you are a bit closer to the pit exit, but it's going to take you a bit longer to get there. So we'll see how close it is. They're coming towards the final sector now, so they're coming through the last bit towards the curve of Paul Frere. And that's very wide from Oliver. That's going to put him under attack from Tom. Tom's going to have a great opportunity now towards Blanchimont to try and make a move down towards the bus stop chicane. They go through Blanchimont flat out there. So flat out left-hander there as they go through towards the bus stop chicane now. Tom, is he going to think about making a look? He's going to look down the inside. He's going to brake a little bit later. He's going to try it. He's going to put his nose in and they keep it clean so far. Everybody through fairly well. Schroeder's still not out of the pits.
Schroeder is on the move.
He's on the move, so this is going to be incredibly close. I think he's actually going to take the race lead. He does. This looks like he's going to take a huge race lead here from Oliver Anderson after Oliver effectively taking the race lead. He's not going to take it any further because these guys are now going to have a huge battle to try and catch Schroeder.
Meanwhile, Tom Curtin, he dropped a little bit.
Oh, it's a huge spin as well. We watched Nikolai Schroeder come out. So Schroeder now onto his this will be the final lap, I believe.
I think so.
Where is Oliver? Oliver's there. So Oliver's not far behind. In fact, you'll probably see just at the end of the Kemmel Straight is Schroeder, followed by Oliver Anderson, followed by Tom Curtin. So Tom, Oliver, and Schroeder all within a minuscule gap. You can almost throw a blanket between at least second and third, and possibly even first. If these guys get to another tour of the circuit, I would love to see another lap with these three fighting for the win.
Yeah, definitely. You were asking quite some time ago. You were asking about strategy, and strategy could come into play, and Schroeder has played the strategy card brilliantly over here. His 21 lows he was doing, which was about a second and a half faster than any other car on track, and that brought a gap so he could pit and stay in front of the entire field.
Absolutely. Well, the overcut has worked for Schroeder. Oliver Anderson's overcut did work, got him ahead of everybody else but Schroeder, and unfortunately for Oliver, it's going to be close but not enough for that win, and it still potentially could even lower for him as Tom Curtin still hasn't let go. He did drop it back a little bit towards the middle section of Sector 2, now heading into Sector 3. We could get one more lap here. There is only 30 seconds to go till we see the flag. Are we going to see one more lap? It looks highly likely that we will, because it's only 20 seconds, and obviously we have our race leader into Blanchimont already, so there could be one more tour of the circuit. We'll see how close it is. In fact, we'll see as he comes towards the line. I don't think there's going to be enough time. It looks like absolutely close as anything. He's going to come to the line. It's not. It's going to be a check for Nikolai Schroeder. Nikolai Schroeder being, well, nobody's guess for the race win after a great bit of strategy. Takes the win. Oliver Anderson second. Tom Curtin third. Bilsma in P4 but P1 overall for his class. Eichtails in 5th. Natas 6th. Prince 7th. Frans van der Linden should come home quite comfortably for 8th. Just in behind is Denise Pope. Brilliant drive from her. Bath in P10 there. Radari Stewart in P11 with Mark Neutlings in P12. Vestenberg I'm assuming hasn't got anyone close enough to him to challenge him for that 13th place, and P2 in his class, followed by Van Horn Reynal. Where is Reinanen? Did Reinanen DNF? It looks like Reinanen didn't finish the race. Well, he's still out on the track. He's slowed down, and yet he's taken the flag as well. So, somebody deciding they don't want their safety rating there. But that looks like Reynal as well. He's going to come home for 15th. I believe Rogosh should take P3. No, sorry, Venema is still behind, so it could be Rogosh or Venema. In fact, no, it will be Rogosh who takes P3 in the AM class, followed by Venema, P4. Lulu B doing a great job to get back to 18th after, well, obviously a disaster of an opening couple laps. But what a great run from a load of the drivers as obviously they come towards their final corners now. We still have a battle, in fact. That is Sainal just behind David Christie, trying to make his way through. I don't think he's going to have enough to do it. In fact, no, Sainal did make it through. David Christie and Parker finish very close to each other, with Sainal actually making it into the top 20. Sam Pearce coming home, very respectful 22nd, with Wouter van der Weert in 23rd, with Haig, Arapakolo, I'm going to keep pronouncing it, with Sem in P25, with Vervat, Bokland and Brint, the only two drivers alongside Alan yet to finish. I believe they have now finished, so everybody now across the line except for Terhorst. So Terhorst actually hasn't finished the race. But what a race! What a race!
That was amazing. It's the first race of the season, but what an amazing race it was.
Absolutely, I'm lost for words. The amazing strategy from some of these drivers to, well, effectively put themselves into contention when a lot of us thought there was no chance.
Yeah, exactly, and it was a strategy. It was a very well driven Wouter Belsma. He did a great job in the M category, and he was actually fighting for the win. And then suddenly he dropped back a little bit, and we had Oliver Anderson and Tom Curtin.
Absolutely. Sorry.
So that was just amazing, and of course also the huge drama in the start of the race with Lulu B, with Anthony Terhorst, and later on with VT Renan, who dropped back, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to ask you to pick your favourite driver from today. Obviously, absolutely based on their performance or your preference, anything. Just who would be your driver of today?
Yeah, I think it might be the easy pick, but Nicolas Schreuder, the way he was off my radar and suddenly he appeared there, and there was a realization, he's half lap in front of those guys. He can actually do it. That was just amazing. We have not seen much of him, but he delivered. The 21 low that he did lap times, while everybody else was doing 22 plus. That's just crunch time, and he delivered on that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to try and get a confirmation of Chris as to whether he's going to try and get any of our top 3 in. Okay, we'll wait for you to do that. So obviously we'll have a quick look at some of these replays. Obviously, a very clean start. I was expecting a lot more drama start, but they were very clean all the way up to Le Com, and then it all kicked off from there, didn't it?
Yeah, that we might see it in this replay, what exactly happened between Anthony Terhorst and Lulu B.
Absolutely. So Lulu has a bit of a disaster going into Le Com for the first time. Obviously, a really good job from an AM driver there to try and hold off a veteran driver there of Terhorst. In fact, I've already just spotted somebody in the interview waiting room, so we'll quickly just have a quick look through this before we bring them in, and we'll then obviously discuss it. And obviously we have a few incidents here that obviously were quite interesting, but I'm sure in the replay we can have a look at the incident between Lulu and somebody just stops in the chicane, and obviously that's what causes the Constantina. But on the side note, let's bring in 2 of our drivers. Let's just bring in Mr. Tom Curtin and Mr. Oliver Anderson. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Well, when I watch sprint endurance racing, I never expect to see, with a pit stop, anybody sort of fighting for that position at the last second. You two proved me wrong today. What an amazing battle you had to the end of the race.
Yes, crazy.
That was it. Yes, and I'm sweating like a pig now. I noticed I was looking on the track map, and I could just see that he was getting closer and closer before I took my pit stop. And I thought, if I'm going for the win, then I need to box now to get out ahead. but unfortunately we ended up battling for P2. But that was close calculations.
When did you realize, Oliver, that Schroeder might actually? He still had to do his pit stop. You could see him in P1, but he still had to do his pit stop. But when did you realize I might actually come out in front of me?
When I boxed, I braked way too early for the pit speed limits, and then I missed my pit box. So I knew that it was going to be close, and if Tom and I hadn't battled so hard, we could probably have been closer to him. But it is what it is, and it was great fun.
Absolutely. Well, we'll bring it over to Tom now. Obviously, great job from yourself. Yeah, obviously a P3. You're very happy with that?
Yeah, really happy. Just kept it clean on race, had a good pit stop, and just put only 1 litre of fuel in, didn't change my tyres, so I think that helped save me a lot of time over other people. Because I came out of the pits and I was saying, where's the other guys that I was battling? Because even at the pit stop it was really close, and when I came out I was kind of on my own. So yeah, I was really happy with that at the end.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, Oliver, you were battling what was obviously for 1 point almost looked like the race lead against the AM leader. How did you feel about that? Obviously,
What, the AM
somebody?
leader? Ah, yes, him. I didn't notice it was the AM leader. We have raced before, and I knew it was going to be a little bit hard keeping him behind because he's so fast. But I think I got help when Lulu destroyed her race for the second time and wrecked direct in front of us at Puong. Gave me a bit of room.
Yeah, obviously, really unfortunate for Lulu. Obviously.
Yes.
Really unfortunate for the drivers, obviously. But so next race out, I did have a look at the calendar, but I've forgotten it. You might have to remind me.
Indianapolis, I think.
Can Chris confirm?
Watkins Glen?
Well, can you not?
I think it's Watkins Glen.
Yes, obviously off to America for the next round. What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't driven that track in ages, but as I recall, I do believe the Lexus can be strong on that track due to its speed, but we'll see what happens. I'll definitely be going for another podium, I think.
Well, brilliant job from yourself again. Obviously, Tom, you're looking forward to the next few rounds. Obviously, 3 rounds in America, all the new DLC tracks. You're looking forward to those?
Yeah, Watkins Glen is, I think, okay with the Aston. We'll see after the update. I haven't tried it, so hopefully it'll be strong there as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We're now going to speak to our race winner, who at one point we thought were going to be, but proved us all wrong. Thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations to yourself, Nikolai Schroeder.
Thank you. I actually didn't think I would manage that as well, especially after lap 1, where I actually forgot to change the engine map. So I drove the entire lap 1 on engine map 8, so yeah. I kind of lost hope at that point.
Absolutely. Obviously, engine map 8, obviously for people that are maybe watching back and aren't sure, obviously I believe it's one of the slower maps, if I'm not mistaken.
The slowest lap.
There you go. So obviously, yeah, yourself at one point not really within contention for a podium, all of a sudden it falls onto you that you're a race winner. How does that feel?
Really good. I thought that I would come out of pits on P5 or 6 maybe, but seeing looking at the finish, then I was like, okay, do I need to do another lap now, or what is gonna happen now? And then I just drove the last lap again because I wasn't sure if I actually finished the race already.
Absolutely. Well, I've got to ask, because at one point we thought there was going to be another lap. Were you panicking a bit when you saw that you had Oliver and Tom right behind you on that final lap?
Not panicking, but maybe driving a little over the limit of the cold tires. I was really pressured, at least. I need to admit that.
Absolutely. Well, so obviously, like I said, I've asked these guys. We've got 3 rounds in America, obviously a few returning circuits. How does that feel for you? Are you looking forward to these challenges? And obviously, do you feel like you can continue your progress here and obviously continue to take race wins?
The only track I've raced on is Watkins Glen, and that was in a GT4, so I'm really hyped up for the next races. I'm looking forward to where I can finish on these races.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Nikolai. Tom and Oliver. Is there anything you'd like to say to the recording before you disappear?
Don't count the results yet.
I don't want
It's
to.
only round 1. So we'll see. Keep pushing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you very
actually,
much, guys.
You know what happened to Anthony?
Yes, we did. We saw. We were watching. So yeah. Well, thank you very much, guys, for joining us, and I'm sure I will see you guys again soon.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Right, now we are joined by David Christie and Jan Barth. Welcome, guys.
Good evening. How are we doing, Adam?
A bit tired.
It was a bit frantic, that race, wasn't it? It was twice as frantic or 3 times as frantic from behind the wheel, but my goodness, it is bizarre being behind the wheel rather than behind the bike.
Absolutely. Well, for yourself, obviously quite an interesting race, I presume.
Well, I've had quieter races, Adam. I got hit from behind coming into the final chicane there. I've got no idea how I got 6th place in class.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, it's first round of the season. We've got, I believe, 5 or 6 more to go. Points in the first round important to you, I'm assuming.
Well, not really, because this is my first league that I've been taking part in for several years, since doing the commentary and stuff like that. So I'm going to miss the next 2 rounds being away in South Africa, but I just really desperately wanted to be part of one of the championships with SSRi, and I thought GT3's what better way.
Absolutely, it's a great community, great racing, and as you can see by the highlights, some absolutely impressive battles, especially towards the end there with our race leaders. I'm sure if you watch it back, great time watching it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Adam, 100%. I mean, the racecraft in the field tonight was unbelievable. It might have said tier 2, but that was proper top class racing tonight from everyone.
It absolutely was. Well, obviously, for every round that you do get to, better results, maybe even a podium as time goes on.
Settle yourself, Adam. We'll just if I get a podium, we'll be getting a nosebleed. That's how bad it is. Finishing is where I'm happy. P6 was completely unexpected. Absolutely delighted with that. More of the same, please.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to hold you to it then. If you get a podium, I reckon we get a shoe.
You might not need to wait for that. I'll just go and do one just now.
Thank you very much for joining us, David. I'm sure we'll see you again very soon. And is there anything you'd like to say to the recording before we do disappear?
Just thanks, everyone. Thanks to all the admins. Thanks to the broadcast team, yourself, Adam and Chris, and everyone involved in making this happen. Great fun. Cannot wait to get back in a month's time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. Now we're going to move over to Jan Bar. Welcome, Jan.
Good evening, Adam. Nice to hear you again after 12 hours of Pisano where you interviewed me, I think.
I believe I did. I'm so tired right now. I probably couldn't tell you. But how was your race?
For me, in the Porsche Spa-Francorchamps, you know the mixture of it. It's pretty tough because, yeah, I got only I think P27 at the qualifying, and yeah. Now I'm finished P10, so I tried to avoid every incident, and that worked really fine. And my pit stop was also great. And what can I say? I think I was the slowest car on the straight, maybe, because I can only hit 255, 256 on the camel straight, and yeah, I was like a sitting duck on the straight. So I'm quite happy with it, to be honest.
Absolutely. Well, obviously, plenty more rounds for you to try and improve. Obviously, the Porsche being very quick through the corners, just unfortunately, Spa not really suiting the 911 GT3 car. But are you looking forward to these rounds? All 3, well, we've got at least 3 of them over on the state side of the map. Obviously, 3 of them being the Watkins Glen, COTA, Indianapolis. Looking forward to any of those?
I think all of the tracks are great, so I'm not having like all 3 are great tracks, so there's no one which is my favorite, but I just like American tracks in general, so I'm really looking forward to these races, and I'm really also looking forward to the GT4 next week again. And
absolutely.
yeah.
Sorry. Well, hopefully you won't be as much of a sitting duck on COTA's very long straight as well, but I wish you all the best. Is there anything you'd like to say to the recording we do move over?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you guys with the really, really professional broadcasting, interviews, whatever. You're doing a great job. I'm really happy to be here, and the other races, really, really good racecraft, high competition. So you have to work really for the places, and that's what I like about it. And second one, I want to congratulate to my teammate Tom Curtin for the 3rd place. He really deserved it, and yeah, I hope for better races to come in the next weeks.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Jan. Best of luck in your GT4 campaign, and I'm sure I will see you again in the next GT3 race.
I hope so, Adam. It was a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And, well, last but certainly not least, we have Sam Pearce. Good evening.
Good evening, Adam. How are you guys?
Yeah, I believe we're pretty good. I mean, I think Dimitri's gone a little bit quiet there, but I believe he's okay.
I'm still here. I'm just listening to the very professional interviews.
Hey, Dimitri.
Hi, Sam. How was your race?
It was good. It was really, really good. I had a horrific qualifying. I ended up in P31, which I just couldn't string a lap together to save my life. But strategy really, really, worked out for me tonight. I decided that I was gonna hang it out right to the very, very end. Did a quick splash and dash with about 8 minutes left to go. And yeah, considering after lap 5 I was in P32, I finished P22, and that could have been P20, but I had a bit of a Code Brown moment at Lecum and nearly went into the wall full speed, but managed to miss it by just a whisker, and kept going and only lost then the 2 places. So yeah, an excellent race back. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, great recovery drive by the looks of it. And as you said, strategy really played out today. We saw it also with the winner in the GT3 Silver Class, Schroeder. Did you plan it out in front? Was it your plan all the time, or did you adjust during the race?
It was the plan to begin with, so I took enough fuel to do the entire race no matter what. So I had, the option to pit whenever I wanted, and the idea was that as long as I was in clear air, I was just gonna stay out and just hot lap. And the incident on lap 5 kind of meant that I was in clear air for pretty much the most of the race. So a little bit boring for my stream, but it meant that I could just put in lap after lap after lap, and then the overcut just worked in a dream. Took 10 places on the pit stop. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's nice. If you have to clear space and you can bring in those laps, those really strong laps, you can still gain a lot of places due to strategy. So I think in 2 weeks' time, the September 13th, we are going to Watkins Glen in America.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am so gutted. I'm going to miss Watkins Glen. And of the 3 American tracks that have been introduced, that's kind of my favorite. And unfortunately, I'm going to miss it because I'm going to be stargazing in Tenerife.
Oh, that sounds like a nice plan as well.
I was gonna say there's worse reasons to miss a race.
There's worse ways to miss a race. Yeah, definitely. And that is the actual night that we're doing a stargazing experience at the Tenerife Mount Teide Observatory. So,
right.
I'm a little gutted that I'm missing it, but I really cannot complain at the reason why.
Well, the only thing we can say, for everybody who's watching this stream and listening to this interview and think, unfortunately, I can't go stargazing in Tenerife on the 13th. We will be here with another live stream probably. So
yeah, we'll be here. Sam might not be, but we will.
Yeah. But I'll be back and raring to go for Indianapolis. Not out of the 3 new American tracks, that's the one I've had the least amount of practice on. So I think from tomorrow, I'm just going to jump straight into Indy and at least learn where it goes, at the very least.
Well, I can tell you it's not the oval, so you're not going left a lot.
No, but that banking's pretty fun, though.
That does look fun. I'm yet to actually have a go on Tim with the American tracks, but I'm sure when I do, I'll be having a great time. But yeah, like I say, thank you very much for joining us. Obviously, is there anything you'd like to say to the stream or anything before you want to leave?
I'd just like to echo what, and everyone else has been saying, thanks for stepping in and doing the commentary. It's great that Tier 2 has, getting some love and getting, recordings and commentary and interviews and everything like that. It gives us, in the lower tier something to work for and, wanting to improve our driving. Because it's out there for the world to see. So if we screw up, it's public. So yeah, it gives us some incentive. So thanks very much for stepping in and giving up your evening and giving some great commentary to our on-track madness.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us. Obviously, a pleasure as always. Thank you very much, Sam Pearce.
Not a problem. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Dimitri.
Well, I think that about wraps it up, doesn't it, Dimitri?
I think so. Yeah. I'm looking at the event calendar, and for the GT3, we will be back, like we said, in Watkins Glen for race 2, and there will be another GT4 race on Tuesday, September the 6th.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Dimitri. Thank you once again, Chris Hill on the cameras. From myself, from the commentary team, from every driver in Tier 2, from the entire community here at SSRi, thank you very much for watching. If you're having, wherever you are in the world, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Have a lovely, great morning, evening, night, wherever you are, and we will all see you next time. Thank you. Good night.